Yeah, Tuesday. What's up, everybody? Tuesday morning. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. I hope everybody had a great trading day yesterday as we were looking at one of those days where the market just kind of chopped around for a little while and then popped up overnight as we have broken through some of those highs. Our Russell, however, yesterday was an interesting little trade, so we'll take a look at all of those. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you get the alerts, the updates, and all that fun jazz. If you are a regular, we are glad that you're joining us. I want to do our question of the day. Question of the day. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about which equity markets you use. So question of the day today is around commodity markets. What commodity markets do you trade? Today, in our daily market commentary, we really just look at crude oil and gold. But do you look at any other commodity markets other than crude oil and gold? It'd be great to hear, to see what you guys are trading out there. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the S&P this morning, we're up 17 points, and we have come above our breakout entry. So we came above our breakout trade right through here. We did come back into this level yesterday with a little bit of a sell-off. We talked about needing basing in front of this level, so you may or may not have gotten in on this breakout. If you didn't get in on the breakout, which I wouldn't blame you for because we didn't quite get the basing in the exact right area, you do have a retest level right here that I think is a really strong level, 30.50, 30.45, right in here as an area to get long on a retest. Price pulls back into here. The thing I like about this is time of day that it was created is a really strong time of day, and it had enough force to break through the area overnight, and so that makes it a pretty good opportunity for a retested area. So looking at that retested area, that would be the place to get long if price comes back into that zone. Next, taking a look at the Nasdaq. So in our Nasdaq, we actually did get good basing in front of the Nasdaq. So if you're going to get into a breakout trade, the Nasdaq was a much better one and a much better opportunity to get long as prices has rallied about 60 points from our breakout area. So if you caught that one in the overnight trading, that one is moving around pretty nicely. If you did not catch it, once again, retest area would be this region right in here, 96.03 by about 95.88 as our zone for the retest. Now you could go a bit lower and take this area down here as well as a potential for an entry point, but this one appears just a better time of day that it was created right there around the London Open. In the Russell trade, so yesterday's Russell position, we talked about getting long on the breakout, and you did have an opportunity to get long on the breakout, and then we talked about a short at this area here for a reversal. So both the long breakout for about 10 points worked, as well as the reversal into this supply area, and we got a really nice move away from that supply zone. So that's both of those trades worked out really well yesterday, as this was our weakest of our two markets. So the one to look at for the potential reversal trade, and it worked out to be a really nice little level. Now the second time we've come into it, we did just do this as a touch and go. So you could theoretically use this level again on a limit entry, or excuse me, confirmation entry. But we are moving away from it, so now we've hit it a couple times. I'm going to remove that level at this point so that we're not looking into that zone again. Now, I'm not going to look to this reversal for the long. I think if you're going to go with that long at the European market open, I think you're better to go with the Nasdaq or the S&P. And the reason being is that this one is a bit weaker today than the other markets, and the other markets are going to give me a little bit better of an opportunity, I think, on the retest. But this level does still exist. If you want to get long on it, that would be your area in that zone. It is still there. Now, the other thing that you could do is, because this level's been touched twice, if we get more basing here, you have another breakout opportunity above that level from this breakout zone. We've got one touch, two touch, a little bit of basing here would be the third touch and the opportunity for a better breakout. Looking at crude oil, so looking at our commodity markets, and I'm starting on that that September contract. Now, we didn't get the basing required for this breakout yesterday. We needed that, we got 1 touch, 2 touch, and then we didn't have basing directly in front of the level. So this is not what we would consider a false breakout, right? The price just continued to move away from that zone. And in the overnight, we've continued to trade a bit higher. Ultimately, my thought, and I've talked about this for a while, ultimately my thought was that we could make it all the way up above, into that 40 range. Because remember, we're trading now into the gap fill area where there's just an absence of order flow. And so there's an opportunity for price to go a bit higher. There is some resistance up here at 38.25 that we do have to take into account. So let's keep that in mind, as that could be kind of the next breakout area. But any of these breakout areas could set themselves up for a good opportunity next trade, if provided that we get quality basing. All right, so moving over, let's take a look at gold and what gold is telling us. And gold's telling us the same thing it's told us for a while. There's not a whole lot occurring. On our 4-hour chart, we are still in our sideways price action, not a whole lot of movement, really one way or the other. So moving down to the 1-hour chart on a smaller time period, there are a couple of decent demand areas below us. I would say most notably this one here, setting up from Friday. Originally, I wasn't a huge fan of that level, but the fact that we've been able to move away, and it helped to create a new high. The fact that it got above this controlling pivot and helped to create a new high yesterday makes me like this level a bit more on a potential reversal. And that's really the key, is that it helped to create a new high. Had it not created a new high and price just come down from there, I may not have been as excited about that zone, but I think there could be a decent reversal at that 1732 level. Moving over to bonds and currencies, remember our conversation yesterday around these. Don't force them. They have not been the best trading opportunities lately, and so there's not a sense in forcing these. But we're definitely in some uptrends in our currency markets. Our bond market continues to trade inside of this tight range, and I'm just not going to analyze it while it's inside this tight range. It doesn't make any sense to force that trade. Looking at the Aussie did get our breakout trade yesterday. So for those of you that took the breakout, a little bit of run, hit our short reversal. Price came back out of that short reversal and then gave you another opportunity on a breakout. So our uptrend is continuing. For those of you that did catch some of those little moves in the Aussie yesterday. Now, we did come to this supply level and pop right through it, so this one would have to have been a confirmation level anyway. But now we're looking, as I go, onto the 4-hour, as the dollar continues to show weakness, the Australian dollar has really gained some momentum and is nearly back up to where it was back in January, right? So a lot of strength, very, very strong currency market right now in the Aussie. So we're looking for pullbacks to quality areas of demand as an opportunity to get long. And in the overnight, it would be this same area right here that we have in the S&P, if we get, which was formed right there at the European market open, if we get a bit of a pullback. In the euro, same picture, although our momentum slowed down just a little bit. We didn't come back and retest our hourly level in here. I don't like this one quite as much as I do the Aussie for the retest, but it's still not a bad little level here right there at the European market open for a potential retested area, as that one still exists. And then the Canadian dollar, really another one, strong move back to the upside, been unable to retest any of these areas of demand. And the frustrating part is when you don't retest the demand areas and it doesn't give you a good breakout trade, right? And when that happens, in my experience, you get a pretty sharp pullback very quickly, and that's where I would look for next. Great British Pound, Japanese Yen, our last two currency markets. And when we look at the pound, we see, just like the other markets, very strong move up, continuing to go higher. We did come into this 15-minute supply area yesterday and got a little move away, but not enough for us to really have gotten anything out of there. Matter of fact, with our 6-candle rule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles in, it had gone nowhere. So not a whole lot to do there. But an interesting thing to look at, that old resistance becomes new support, and was really the catalyst for a more recent overnight reversal. Now, I'm going to go a bit lower for the best quality demand. And for that, I'm going to yesterday's market open. That was really our our better level would be down in here. I think that's a really good demand zone. I just don't know that we're going to come back and retest that anytime soon. So keep an eye on that one later today if we do come back down into that zone. Now, it looks very far away from there, but when you look at it on a 4-hour chart, it's really not that big of a pullback. So we'll see if that occurs and price comes back down into this region. I think that's a pretty good little level, especially considering that we're coming into some supply up here. So if you're really interested in a candle-to-candle short, we do have a candle reversal trade right here where you could get short on the next lower low. Japanese yen, we are staying above our breakdown point. We've not quite gotten to that breakdown area as of yet. If we look a bit higher to potential supply, we don't have anything that really is exciting me. I mean, this is a decent little level, but it's formed at 7 p.m., which is not a great time of the day. I mean, that's right around the Asian market open, so that is a little bit more encouraging. But I think, what I'm still looking at is that breakdown on the 4-hour, and I'm using the 4-hour level as really the breakdown point. Touch, touch, touch. We need some tight basing right inside that level, but that would be your opportunity to get short. So a lot of really good levels to look at today, especially in our currency or in our equity markets, just like I talked about yesterday. Hopefully you were able to catch that breakout. If not, wait for the retest. And if you have any questions, as always, send us an email, support@tradersarmy.com. Until tomorrow, everybody, I'll talk to you soon. See ya.